Welcome everyone to the new series I am starting. I've been following this series for a couple years now, I think. I caught up to it around chapter 100, but I will get into my own personal feelings about this series later in the video. So with this video, I'm going to go over the first chapter of the series. Since this is my first video on the series, the way my reviews work is I go over the story first, then I will talk about its anime adaptation, and with anything interesting coming out of it, I will mention and talk about. Then I will go over the English and Japanese voice cast along with the characters before finally analyzing and going in depth with the story itself. And since this is the first video on the series, I will give you guys a roadmap of how I am going to tackle it. So after getting all those introductions out of the way, we can now begin. I hope you all enjoy. We begin with our main character, Izuku Midoriya, as a little kid protecting another kid from some bullies who seemingly have superpowers. With his narration saying that he learned from a young age that people are not created equal. But we cut to him as a teenager saying that was his first and last setback. Seeing him come across a villain rampaging around the city. With a color double spread, which I will talk about later because it has a decent amount of story details in this picture. We then get a backstory on the world saying that the first person born with powers was a glowing baby. And soon after that, people all over the world started developing powers. And at the current time period, 80% of the world's population have powers. With a new power suddenly showing up, the world was thrown into chaos until the job most people only dreamed about became a reality, the profession of being a hero. We see a hero getting ready to capture a villain when another hero basically steals his kill and gets the glory from it. And we get further informed that after a bit of time, heroes were put into law as an official occupation, so they get government pay as well. We cut to Izuku's school with all the kids wanting to become heroes, but one kid speaks up saying not to lump him in with the other students. That guy being Katsuki Bakugo, the bully from when Izuku was a kid, who boasts that he will be getting into UA, the top hero school, and eventually surpass All Might. But the teacher also reveals that Izuku is also aiming to go to that school. And I'm like, the teacher knows he is quirkless. Why would he tell the whole class when he knows he will get made fun of for it?
Hey, bro, come on now, dawg. Come on, man.
And of course he does, with Bakugo even threatening him over it, telling him that he basically doesn't deserve to be at the same school as him, since he has no quirk. He then bullies him even further after class, burning his notebook and throwing it out the window, telling him that he shouldn't even think about applying to UA. And then he literally tells him to go kill himself.
Your life is nothing. You serve zero purpose. You should kill yourself now.
He goes to get his notebook back when we go into a flashback of him watching a YouTube video of All Might's debut as a hero. And the way he acts is the same way my dad said I would act when me and him would get ready to watch Dragon Ball. He of course wants to be a hero like him, but gets shot down by a doctor saying that he is one of the few people in his generation that don't have a quirk. This of course crushes his dreams of becoming a hero, and this scene with him and his mother crying did make me cry a bit when I first watched it in the anime. We then come back to the present when a villain tries to use him as a disguise. But All Might arrives, saving him, but he faints afterwards. He wakes up seeing All Might freaking out about it, with them getting a little meta saying that he is even drawn in a different style. All Might having the villain captured goes to leave, but Izuku latches onto him, forcing him to land. We then cut to Bakugo, who gets attacked by a villain All Might just captured, wanting to take over his body as well. Going back, Izuku stops All Might before he leaves and asks him if he can be a hero without a quirk, and doesn't notice All Might deflating. And I have to say, if I had to compare him to anything, it would be like a crackhead version of Yugimoto.
It's time to do.
But he does assure him he is All Might. He explains that he was basically constantly flexing to keep his original form. He became like this because of an injury he obtained 5 years ago, and it took out his whole stomach and a decent chunk of his lungs. So he can only do hero work for a few hours a day at this point. And he tells him straight out that he can't become a hero without powers, and giving him advice to become a police officer if he still wants to help people. The sludge villain has begun to take over Bakugo, but he is resisting, firing off explosions all over the place, setting the area on fire.
Get this shit off me! Ah! Ah! Get this beta shit off me! Ah! Ah!
All the other heroes are basically throwing their hands up in the air because their quirk is not a good fit to rescue Bakugo. All Might also comes over to see what is happening and realizes this is his fault for not paying a closer attention since he dropped the villain when he was with Izuku. But then Izuku comes across the situation as well and blames himself, hoping a hero will come. But then he sees the pleading in Bakugo's eyes and just starts sprinting to go save him. And just says he came because he looked like he needed to be saved. Inspiring All Might, he forces himself to go back into his muscle form and proceeds to blow the sludge villain away. After everything is finished, Bakugo confronts Izuku, telling him he never asked for his help, and he'll never need it, with Izuku now satisfied to live a more realistic life. Until All Might arrives. Changing back, he thanks him for inspiring him to act. Then we get a fantastic scene of All Might telling him out of all the heroes there, him, a quirkless child, chose to dive in and save someone in need of help. Finally telling him what he wanted to hear all his life, that he can be a hero. And man, this scene got me tearing up too. Ending the chapter with Izuku telling us that this is how he became a great hero. So some changes the anime did was the opening scene, they didn't show Izuku getting beat up, but they did show the aftermath that wasn't shown in the manga. A cool transition the anime had was one of Izuku staring up at the sky, and then his teenage self splashing the puddle reflecting it. And I have to say, the All Might saving Izuku from the sludge villain was better with it scattering and the gleaming light filling the scene with Izuku slowly fainting. Definitely an improvement from the manga. And I like all the American symbolism with All Might since he is half American and half Japanese. They also got rid of the scene of when Bakugo's friends were smoking, with him worrying if they get caught since it would reflect badly on him. Which is understandable why they would cut that out. And the last thing I want to say the anime improved on was All Might's scar. In the manga, you can't really tell how bad it is just by looking, but in the anime, it looks more gruesome since you see all the surgical marks and the bruising around it. And I will say it here, I will also be going over the intros and outros to the series in this section, but I will wait on doing them until all the spoilers in them are shown. So I will go over the first opening and ending at the end of my part 4 review. So going over the double spread at the start of the chapter, we see how society views villains in this universe. Nobody is panicking, with some people not even paying attention to it, and others are even recording it on their phones. And we see the two main jobs of the heroes, which are to apprehend the criminal and to ensure the civilian safety, which is what Death Arms is doing. Then the contents page has Izuku pushing All Might. For the chapter cover, we get Izuku walking into UA with Bakugo, Uraraka, and Ida. Then we get a small bio of All Might about his birthday and him being 7'2" in his muscle form. Then Horikoshi, the creator, says that he likes drawing him, but because of how much shading he has, it costs him a lot of pen tips. But he then also explains that no one liked him when he showed his design to them, saying he was too old and he should be changed into a pretty boy of all things. I feel like they underestimate how much young boys will look up to a fit, older male figure. And since he got all that criticism, he decided to put his all into drawing him, and I would say it paid off with how popular he became around the world. He also goes into his skinny form design, with his eyes being almost completely black because they are sunken in so much, with the still brightly gleaming pupils being the true essence of the symbol of peace shining through.
You are a worthless, bitch-ass nigga. Your life literally is as valuable as a summer ant. I'm just gonna stump you. You're gonna keep coming back. I'm gonna seal up all my cracks. You're gonna keep coming back. Why? Because you keep smelling the syrup, you worthless bitch ass nigga. You serve no purpose in life. Your life is nothing. You serve zero purpose. You should kill yourself now and give somebody else a piece of that oxygen and ozone layer that's covered up so that we can breathe inside this blue trapped bubble. Because what are you here for? To worship me? Kill yourself. I mean that with 100%, with 1,000%.
Alright, first up on the chopping block is Bakugo. He is voiced by Nobuhiko Okamoto, who has also voiced Shinjiro from Kill la Kill, Gyatso from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and listening to it, it's definitely him with how much he rages, and he plays young Kuma from One Piece. His English voice actor is Clifford Chapin, who also voices Yonji from One Piece and Connie from Attack on Titan. Now with Bakugo, he definitely makes a bad first impression being a bully at school and just straight up telling Izuku to go kill himself. And because of how powerful his quirk is, letting him cause explosions, he sees himself as above all the other normal people, wanting to get into the best hero school and eventually surpass everyone's idol, All Might. But then there is Izuku, the literal lowest of the low in his eyes, because he has nothing special about him, unlike the rest of the classmates. And even from when they were kids, he liked picking on him because it made him feel better about himself, seeing how far above him he was. And he was planning to leave him behind in middle school since he knows there is no way he could follow him, since he would truly start his climb to his true goal. But when he heard Izuku is applying to the same school, he saw this as him thinking he could be somewhere near his level. And if he somehow did get into that school, it would be tainted with his presence, since only the best of the best are supposed to be there. But then he gets hit with a reality check when a villain attacks him. He wasn't able to fight him off, and he was making the situation even worse by recklessly causing explosions, setting the area on fire, endangering everyone else. Then we saw once he couldn't fight back anymore, he truly asked for help, but didn't expect Izuku to be the one to answer that call. And in that moment, he did feel some kind of worry for Izuku, but then shortly felt frustration, since he feels he was so weak, someone like Izuku had to come and save him. Then after the incident, he wasn't even paying attention to the heroes praising him, since he feels like he doesn't deserve it. Then the last thing he does is to try to reassert his confidence by berating Izuku again for saving him, telling him that he didn't need his help and to not look down on him. Storming off, but unlike the other times at school, he didn't physically threaten him. I will have a lot more to talk about with him later, but even in this first chapter, he had a decent amount of character. Next up is the symbol of peace himself, All Might, who is voiced by Kenta Miyake, who has also voiced Morale from One Piece, Scar from Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, and Avdol from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. His English voice actor is Christopher Sabat, most famous for voicing Vegeta from Dragon Ball, Kuwabara from Yu Yu Hakusho, and Alex Armstrong from Fullmetal Alchemist. All Might is basically the Superman of the heroes in this world, and he seems to live up to it since he finishes his fights quickly and seemingly easily. But we see he has the dynamic of that he is not the indomitable hero he seems like on the surface. He was unstoppable, but an injury he got a few years back took that away from him. And we will come back to that fight, since I'm going to spoil it now. He lied about who gave him that injury. Since he knows that he is the major pillar keeping peace in Japan, he hides what he is now, since it would cause panic and a rise in crime. Even if he can only stay in his original form for 3 hours, he will still do his best to keep the peace. And now he has met young Izuku, who has brung a spark back into his life and will seemingly train him to become a hero. And finally, we have our main character, Izuku, who is voiced by Daiki Yamashita, who has also voiced Narencia from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and Yushiro from Demon Slayer. His English voice actor is Justin Briner, who has voiced Yu Jin-ho from Solo Leveling and Nasu no Yoichi from Drifters. So Izuku probably had some of the worst luck imaginable starting out. Being born quirkless when both of your parents have them, and so does 80% of the world. He then worships All Might, wanting to be a hero, but gets told that can never happen. And to finish it off, he has had a lifelong bully in Bakugo. So like he says, he was taught from a young age, not all people are created equal. I also want to speak on Izuku's mother, who apologizes to Izuku as a kid because in her mind, as a parent, feels like it's her fault for being his mother and him not getting a quirk, which is something a parent might do, blaming themselves if their child came out quote-unquote wrong. And in that moment he wanted her to still say he can be a hero, but this made him feel even worse. But even with this setback, he still does stand up to Bakugo when he was bullying a kid and still dreams of becoming a hero. He keeps on writing strategies down in his notebook and still applied to UA. Then he got the high of meeting his idol, All Might, and then the low of him telling him his dream isn't possible. Then his true hero moment came with him trying to save Bakugo, not caring about the years of torment he put him through, just wanting to save him. Then afterwards, he gets reprimanded by the heroes when they themselves were failing at their hero duties. And then he finally gets the acknowledgement that he wanted with All Might telling him what he always wanted to hear. That he can become a hero. Which, like I said before, is an exciting development. And we'll have to see what happens next. Then to finish off here, I will talk about the world in general. In the opening scene, we already see the different ways people may see their quirks. With one just casually using it like it's just something he can do, one looking in amazement of her powers and she will most likely become a hero, and lastly someone who looks like they cannot control their quirk and is panicking because of it. All of these concepts will be explored as the series goes on. And then with the majority of people in the world having powers, it would create chaos. And now it's been at least a century later with people just seeing it as a part of life when a person starts rampaging with their powers. It is truly a great setting for a story, and I am looking forward to examining and exploring it with you guys. Things I'm going to review for this whole series is of course the manga and the anime, and 2 side mangas being My Hero Vigilantes and Team Up Missions. I will also be reviewing the movies and the OVAs, and I will be making videos on the filler content, but I will throw them in their own videos. I have 3 planned. If you have any questions, of course ask them in the comments. So with all this finally done, I would like to know what you guys think, and what was your first impression of the story when you first read or watched it. I will have a playlist for the series. If you're seeing this in the future, go make sure to check it out. I would ask that you like the video and subscribe if you want to come on this journey with me. And if not, that's alright. I am glad you made it this far. With all that out of the way, I will see you guys later. Bye guys.